Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here we have another great article from Inside Towers. I will leave it in the description down below so you guys can check it out. T-Mobile not slowing down. So I wanted to talk about a part of this article that I wanted to break down that I find actually very, very interesting. And I know it may be bad, you may consider this bad, but it makes perfect sense. So full year CapEx, capital expenditure, will be in the 13.5 to 13.7 billion dollar range, up 250 million at the midpoint. As T-Mobile accelerates its nationwide 5G network build-out, quarterly CapEx levels likely will decline as the Sprint network decommissioning activity winds down in the second half of 2022. So that's something that we'll have to come to reason with, that they are likely to lower the CapEx in the second half of the year. If not the second half of the year, it will likely come down a bit in 2023. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, I know they're no longer going to spend that money on the decommissioning itself. Why not just shift that money and, spend the higher part of it towards, network expansion or whatnot? So the reason that kind of puts T-Mobile in a pickle is because they just posted a net loss on income, and they are looking to be more profitable, make more free cash flow, or better free cash flow, and post positive net income. Their net income is like at 600 million now. AT&T's is at like 4.1 billion, and Verizon's at like 5 billion. So T-Mobile has to improve that. And, a reduction in CapEx can help that. It can most definitely help the net income improve. Now, of course, as a network enthusiast, we would, of course, like to see them spend at much higher levels, but for them to remain, at the level of plan pricing that they're at now, without having to increase that to higher levels, they're going to have to make cuts somewhere. They're going to have to do more drastic cost-cutting measures, and they're going to have to lower the CapEx. And the CapEx, per the guidance that they gave at the Analyst Day, is already set to lower next year. And they already said for this year, they took some of the budget for next year and moved that into this year to build out at an accelerated pace. And that included the decommissioning of the Sprint towers. Now that's going to cost them a good chunk of money. So a good chunk of this year's CapEx, the 13.7 billion that they will be at, if they spend on that towards that higher end, a good chunk of that is going to go towards decommissioning Sprint towers. So you do have to take that into consideration as well, that not all of that 13.7 billion is going into upgrading and expanding new sites and upgrading the Sprint Keep sites. No, some of that is going strictly towards decommissioning the Sprint network, which they said at the earnings call they should have that done at the end of the third quarter, which that quarter ends September 30th. They should be done on that date with all of the decommissioning, or the remaining decommissioning of the Sprint sites. So they had to carve out some of that CapEx for that. Now, as they decrease the CapEx next year, and that's potentially going to happen, does that mean that the CapEx will just sit there and be lower? No, they have potential opportunity, of course, once again, to incrementally increase the CapEx throughout the year as needed. And that's kind of the feeling and the sense that I get here. They're seeing higher traffic and demand for fixed wireless access. They're seeing opportunity to accelerate and grow and expand the network faster. So what did they do at the midpoint? They increased 250 million. Now, of course, not all of that 250 million is going strictly towards the network, they also have to carve out some of that 250 million towards new routers. They see the demand for the product, so they have to get more of the routers in stock because more and more people are signing up for the service. They added 560,000 customers in Q2. That is, I believe, if I'm correct, that is more. They added more in the second quarter than they did all of last year. To kind of, let that sink in. One quarter, they added more fixed wireless customers than they did all last year. And they're further scaling the network. They said they are at 235 million pops covered with 2.5. That's supposed to get to 260 by the end of year. And then from 260 to 300, it would take them all of 2023 to build out that last 40 million pops that's remaining. And that last 40 million, I'm told, that gets very rural. That means, very far and few in between out there. They're in the sticks at that point. So I just wanted to point that out, that the CapEx levels are likely to drop off. That is, I think now that's to be expected. And there's really no way around it for T-Mobile. If they keep the CapEx intensive, and let's say they say, okay, next year we're going to increase it, they're going to have to increase pricing, or they're going to have to do something else to offset. And they already are very lean now, and they're leaning down even more potentially. We just don't know. That's just a speculation of mine. But they just recently went through somewhat of a mass layoff. So they're trying to go through drastic cost-cutting measures. And it looks like, if they do reduce the CapEx, they could finally be in a position to post a positive net income and increase that on a quarterly basis. So let me know what you think about that. Sound off in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow my social media outlets for more updates and interactions. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.